Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I? Where am I going? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decision.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're
Our
going.
planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa. Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry or stand out with me. Wardrobe provided by Bahari Bahamas. Visit shop.bahari.com. And good morning, everyone. Welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I am your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I really do appreciate your support. So you know what it is on a Wednesday. It's a Wellness Wednesday today, and we're continuing in a series that I began a couple of weeks back, showing the highlights from an event by a Dr. Richard Fleming called Event 2021, in which he took a very comprehensive look at the COVID-19 pandemic. And when I say comprehensive, I mean comprehensive. He broke this thing down into three main segments. To inform was the first segment. To educate is the second segment in which we find ourselves in. Last week was part one of the educational segment, and part two will be today, when we're going to go deeper into what he did to educate his audience about what is really going on as it relates to this coronavirus pandemic. And then part three, which will be next week, will be empowerment. So if you missed the past 3 weeks of shows, I want to highly recommend that you go to my official Facebook page, where you can see the shows in their entirety, because Dr. Richard Fleming, in case you haven't heard or don't know who he is a very well-respected cardiologist. He has a patent. He is in his discovery as to the inflammatory response. And he's a very well-respected scientist. And he has raised some very serious concerns as it relates to the origin of the coronavirus vaccine, with the coronavirus, the virus itself, which you're going to learn about more today, as well as the treatment methodologies that have been embraced by governments around the world, even though scientists are showing and have been saying repeatedly that there are other more effective options available than an experimental vaccine. But for whatever reason, their voices are being silenced. They are either being attacked when they come forward with this information, or there is an all-out effort to try to discredit them when they can't attack what they're saying. They're trying to say, oh, this person is not a valid source. Or if they can't attack their credibility, they just try to shut them out. Censorship. So even if the doctor puts something up on Facebook or YouTube, they're being censored, heavily censored. And it raises a lot of questions as to why is this happening? What is really going on? As Dr. Robert Malone would have said on my show a couple of weeks ago, he's not a conspiracy theorist. Obviously, he's a very well-respected scientist. But when you see the stuff that's going on surrounding this COVID-19 response, it really does add to the theories of conspiracy, because people are wondering what in the world is really going on. And so in the show today, this is again a continuation of highlights from Event 2021, which is a presentation that Dr. Fleming made while in Dallas, Texas recently, where he raised some very serious questions. And in this particular first clip that we're going to show today, this is some heavy stuff, y'all. Once again, this is going to be a pretty technical show. But I want you to know that this is going to be some heavy stuff today that you're going to be hearing. And it's really not my concern as to what you do with the information. My responsibility is to bring the information to you. You do with it whatever you think is best. But I am going to do my job in presenting the information to you as Dr. Fleming presented it to his audience. So the first thing that we're going to hear today is a presentation of a doctor a scientist who joined his presentation virtually. Now, for those of you who have been seriously following this whole coronavirus pandemic from the beginning and really educating yourself on it and, trying to understand it, you will be very familiar with this name. Dr. Li Meng Yan was one of the first virologists to study the emerging coronavirus. And she is a Chinese virologist known for publications and interviews alleging that the SARS-CoV-2 was made in a Chinese government laboratory. Now, these publications initially have been widely criticized by many in the scientific community, but now recently, we see where even the Biden administration in the United States is now investigating whether or not this virus began in a lab. That is under investigation right now. And now, all of a sudden, people who have been saying that that was in fact the case are not crazy anymore. But now we see where there are legitimate questions being asked as to the source of this virus. Now, in this clip, Dr. Li Meng Yan is going to make some very serious allegations in her presentation. What you do with the information is up to you. Whether or not you believe her is up to you. It is my responsibility to bring the information to you. Now, she speaks with a very heavy Chinese accent. So I need you to listen very carefully. But what she is saying in this clip is quite frankly startling. Let's go to clip number 1.
Dr. Li Meng Yan. I'm from the University of Hong Kong, and I worked in the WHO reference lab with the top virus expert in the world for 5 years there until I came to US last April. And the reason I came to US is because back to last January, when I conducted a secret investigation about the COVID-19 virus happened in Wuhan on behalf of the WHO reference lab, I found out the real origins of this COVID-19 virus. And that is terrible because when I realized it, that day was 16 January 2020. And that included several points, including first, China government is covering up the things with WHO because WHO got my report back to even end of December 2019 since I started to conduct the investigation. But they still keep silence, cheat the word. And the other thing including that there were human-to-human transmission exist back to December 2019. And this will be a great outbreak or pandemic according to the situation in Wuhan at that time if we don't do anything to control it. And the next thing is a picture of this virus. There will be terrible mutant if there is an outbreak later. And the most important thing is I realized that based on all my intelligence including the hospital, laboratories from military and also civilian part, and also the CDC in China, all of them together with my expertise and knowledge show me that this virus is not from nature. There is no animal which are the host, and also the seafood market is not the place origin of this virus. It's just one place of the outbreak. What happened is this virus actually is from the Chinese military. It is the virus the China military get in the projected working for China government to search some bad virus which is suitable, and then later there are a lot of scientists do the gain of function experiment to make this virus has different features. And also they release it intentionally, not by the lab accident, to the community, and then made the outbreak out of control. So I deliver all this message to YouTube I trust in Chinese, which he is based in US, but he's very famous. I didn't know him, but that's the only way I think I can trust to deliver the message, because I want to let the government know these things is reviewed on YouTube, and I know they are listening to this YouTuber. China central government listening to this YouTuber. So I want to give pressure to them to force them act and then control the outbreak in time in case there are worse things happen. So I was lucky. I managed to contact that YouTuber. And what I want to do is, at that time, I know I already got warning from my supervisors. They told me the whole issue about this secret investigation should be very careful. Don't cross the red line. That means the invisible red line means any topic China government doesn't want you to talk. Don't touch that, and if not, I will be disappeared. But what I want to do is, before I even get disappeared, I hope the world to know what happened. I hope the action can control it. So after 2 days effort, I asked that YouTuber, he is a layman, Mr. Luder, to understand what happened and convince him this important issue. I provide evidence, intelligence evidence, and also scientific evidence. So finally, on 19th January 2020, Mr. Luder delivered my message out. I was anonymously because I was in Hong Kong, and he tell it to the world. And immediately after 4 hours, central government in China had a response. So they admit that the cases from 62 to 198, and then later they claim that there are also cases not only in Wuhan, but also other cities in China. Also, they admit that human-to-human transmission exists. And then they upgrade the level of SARS-2 to the top emerging disease, infectious disease in China in the law. And also 3 days later, China government locked down Wuhan. Although it's inhumanity, but actually that somehow helped to control the situation. At least if not, it will be worse than we see now. But somehow China government takes the advantage of the outbreak and let it spread all over the world. Meanwhile, they are preparing the fake evidence to tell people this is from nature. So the top scientists in the world, including the Wuhan lab scientist, that woman Zheng Lishi, I think most of people know her now, they throw out their fabricated virus which they claim as a nature father of the SARS-CoV-2, but actually it's a wrong one. They threw it out and submit to the Nature Medicine magazine, and publish it later. So because of my revelation at that time triggered the whole government, and they have to do it all in a rush. That's why there are more problems happened. And that's why I kept review this problem when it happened from January to April. And also that's why we can say the evidence are verified from Peter Daszak's email, from Dr. Fauci's email. It proved that they are the people who get involved into China's misinformation campaign. China is working on develop the non-restricted bioweapon. I define it as unrestricted bioweapon. It is actually not like the traditional one. It is their experience learned from SARS-1, learned from MERS, and learned from other emerging disease. They realize that coronavirus is one of the best material to develop such novel bioweapon. This bioweapon doesn't need to be high lethal rate. It can be only 2% death rate. But the key point is, because it looks like from nature, they guarantee it looks like from nature. And then when they release it, people won't notice it. And then they will destroy the enemy countries' medical facilities, economics, social orders, and finally, civilizations. So the only thing people can distinguish it from the real nature virus is this virus inconsistent with nature evolution theory. That is they call gold standard. But also, military mentioned that in their textbook, they said once someone pointed out we can use misinformation, lies, and denial to cheat them, then they won't notice what happened. Then this bioweapon still can work, and then waste their time. Finally, we win. All these things are verified now, and since I tell it out from January and keep review these things, China government want to make me despair. That's why at the end of April, when I get a warning from Mr. Mulder with his intelligence, I flee to US, and I was lucky. I can go to US successfully and still survive. And I thank everyone from media to individuals, including Dr. Fleming. They provide me the opportunity to let people understand what happened. That also takes a big effort. So I'm happy today to stay here and have the chance to briefly introduce you what happened. And I hope people to realize we are still living in the layers of misinformation from the strong regime, Chinese Communist Party. But the most thing they're scared of is the truth. And truth can never be covered up. So based on scientific evidence and intelligence evidence, people can verify. They can read my 3 published reports. I have done many interviews from Fox to New York Post to other media. People can see that, can read, can verify by themselves. I hope people can let other people realize it and also push the government to do the action to hold Chinese Communist Party accountable. Because, let me tell you that our virologists never only produce one virus in the lab. There are always different strains, mutations during the experiment. So if you let China government keep working on that, if you don't hold them accountable, there always can be novel, different virus, bioweapons come out from different labs they control. So the pandemic will be endless. Thank you.
In summary, what Dr. Yan, I guess, sometimes people, have challenges because there's a different accent. I would say that her English is probably better than my Chinese. And it's important to know what she's coming out and telling you is that she's been working with the people that were involved with SARS-CoV-1 and SARS-CoV-2, and she has firsthand knowledge of the research that was done and the changes, the gain of function that was done. And you should really think of this virus like so many other products. It was paid for and designed in the United States and built in China. And she's correct when she says we need to hold these people accountable, because if you think that SARS-CoV-2 was the last thing they were doing, you would be sadly mistaken.
Okay, I know that that is pretty heavy stuff. Ironically, people have been saying this, and people have been discrediting those people for saying these things. And now that we see the Fauci emails and all of this investigation going on, now people are starting to wonder whether or not there is something to this theory. Is it just a theory? Or, as she pointed out, now there are things that are starting to confirm what she suggested or what she's alleging took place in China. And I want you to understand what she said in terms of there being other viruses that are being worked on. So don't think that once we get through this, then there's nothing more like this to come. Well, Bill Gates has warned us already that there's something worse coming. And I said from the first time I heard that, well, how you know that? How you know what's coming? How are y'all able to not only say what is coming, but when it's going to come? Prior to the outbreak of the pandemic, Fauci was on tape saying that there was no doubt that the Trump administration was going to face some major catastrophe. I was like, how he know that? How do they know these things? Y'all remember that song back in the day, Things That Make You Go, These are things that, you bring it up and, y'all in these conspiracy theories and all this kind of stuff. But now, months later, we're seeing that there is apparently, possibly some validity to what these people have been saying. And you really have to wonder what is really going on. Should some people be held accountable for this? Should we demand of our governments that they too launch an investigation as to where this is coming from or where this has come from? Because this is a thing that's impacted the whole world. It's not like this only impacted Wuhan. The whole world is grappling with this thing right now. And if indeed this was not, as many have said for a long time, some act of nature, somebody ought to be held accountable for this. Don't you think? Patrice says on Facebook, hi all, my belief as a health professional, this virus was made to rid the world of everyone they feel is a burden to society, causing governments money, those with chronic illnesses, obese patients, and the elderly. Well, I have to tell you guys that since I've started this series, I have received messages from doctors inside the country and out who have in essence said, thank you for bringing this information to the public. I wouldn't show the messages because that would reveal the names of the doctors, and I'm not going to do that. But I have received messages, multiple, from doctors thanking me for one of them saying for being brave enough to bring this information to the public. If y'all can't see what's going on here in terms of an all-out sustained effort to try to suppress information, y'all don't want to see it. I saw, what's his name? The guy that has one of those late night shows on American television, Bill Mayer, I think his name is, or something like that. Anyway, he is taking issue now with all of this censorship going on. And, they took down, some podcasts from some very credible scientists. And apparently when his office reached out, they were told that they are only putting up the information that comes from authorized sources. Communist much? When sense is it okay for you to determine that we can only hear from what you called authorized sources? That don't sound kind of communist to y'all? And I'm not saying that China is behind that aspect of it. I think there are others involved here who are benefiting from you being kept in the dark. And thus the censorship like I've never seen in all my days on this side of eternity. This is a scary thing. A very sobering thing we see happening in our world today as it relates to this coronavirus. And as you're going to hear as we go through this presentation today, this is deeper than you think. This thing goes deep, y'all. So I'm going to let y'all marinate on what y'all just heard from that scientist, that Chinese virologist. Just marinate on that for the next 2-3 minutes while we take this commercial break. And then on the other side of the break, we're going to go deep, y'all. We're going to be looking at what is the motive behind all of this and what they are up to in their own words. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Glory 93.9 FM, the people's favorite gospel station.
Best dress, hats off, looking like I walked out of catalog. Everybody wanna know where I got it from. Catwalk, 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 boutique, where we make fashion statements. Catwalk, boutique, where we make fashion statements.
For the latest styles in women's clothing and accessories, visit Catwalk Boutique on Robertson Road East at the Helron Plaza. At Catwalk Boutique, we make fashion statements.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all. Schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Youngevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Alive. Alive. Believe in best. And by Tropical Gyros. Not just good food, it's an experience.
And welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM, where God is glorified and the people of God edified. So today we are continuing our series on the COVID-19 pandemic, a comprehensive look as presented in the event 2021 put on by Dr. Richard Fleming recently in Dallas, Texas, where he went for 4.5 hours breaking down what is really going on with this coronavirus pandemic. And this is a man who is a well-respected cardiologist, scientist. He has a patent for discovering the inflammatory response that is now widely accepted, not widely, is accepted as scientific truth. And he and many, many other scientists and doctors around the world are expressing major concern when it comes to the response to this coronavirus pandemic. They are arguing that there are other better alternatives in terms of treatment methods that are being ignored and in many instances suppressed by governments around the world. And it is raising the question, why? Why all the censorship? Why all the efforts to discredit well-respected scientists or to shut them up if you can't discredit them? Why? Why is this happening? So this is part 3 of the series, I believe, but it's the second part of the education aspect of his presentation, because his presentation was to inform, educate, and empower. So this is the second part of the educate aspect of what he presented to his audience. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to go deep today. There's going to be some stuff that's going to literally blow your mind. So I want you to hold on to your seats as we get through this information. Now, much of what he sought to explain is that much of this information is hidden in plain sight. And they, when I say they, the authorities, are banking on the fact that people just don't like to read. People don't like to do their research. People are lazy for the most part. So they don't care that this information is right there for you to see because they know you ain't going to go look for it. But in essence, all of this information is right there, hidden in plain sight. And if you ask Dr. Fleming, as he presented, all you have to do is look at the EUA papers. And the true story is right there, right for you to find, right in your face. Let's go to clip number 2.
Look at the important data, looking at Pfizer, Moderna, the Russian vaccine, Janssen, and AstraZeneca. And you look at this vaccine efficacy data, and you look at the absolute risk and the number of people that need to be vaccinated, and then you combine everything, what you see is really an efficacy that ranges between 0.8 and 1.3%. And for this, we are vaccinating everybody on the planet and not allowing people to be treated by doctors for the disease or for the infection. Why did I put you through all those slides? So you could do the scientific review that the FDA didn't. Based upon the FDA documents, the emergency use documents, there's no statistical reduction in the COVID rates. There's no statistical reduction in the COVID death rates. There's unacceptable VAERS death and adverse event rates. It took 25 deaths for the swine flu vaccine to be pulled off. And remember how many hundreds of thousands and millions they swore would be affected. Anybody in this room have any memory of that type of mortality and morbidity occurring on planet Earth with the swine flu vaccine? That was the same thing that affected us in 1918. Those numbers did not pan out. The vaccine absolute risk reduction was 0.8 to 1.3%, not the 67 and 95% numbers they're throwing around. So why did we go through the slides? To provide you with the answers that you need when someone's trying to force you to get vaccinated, because the FDA, the federal government, and the media failed to do their job. They failed to ask the scientific questions. So you just learned those questions, where they're at in the documents, and you can share them with people. And this live stream can share it with the world. And I would suggest that Dr. Fauci is very much aware of what I've said, because prior to my stating SARS-CoV-1, everybody referred to the virus from 2002 as SARS-CoV. If you go back and you listen to the testimony that Dr. Fauci gave to Senator Dr. Rand Paul, he used the term SARS-CoV-1. Not a term he was using before. And to the best of my knowledge, I'm the first person who used it, except for the Chinese, who used it in 2006 when they also had SARS-CoV-2.
All right. So, yeah. Very interesting there. Hidden in plain sight. Information right there for you to find. But they know people aren't going to go bother to look. And, you know, a lot of times you have to pay a lot of attention to the words that people use. And he made a very good point about what Fauci said in his testimony. Because even when people are trying to hide information, subconsciously things come out that tell you what they know or what they don't know. So he makes a very interesting point about Fauci saying what he said during that testimony. This thing is just so convoluted. It goes deep, y'all. This goes so deep. Let me read a couple of your comments from Facebook. So Christoph says, doctors worldwide are paranoid with regards to speaking out for fear of being discredited. This is true. I'm telling you, I have been contacted by doctors. Some concerned about their practice being shut down if they speak out. My thing to all doctors is, listen, it's more of y'all than it is of them. So the reason why they're getting away with what they're getting away with is because y'all are seeing yourselves as individuals. And if I speak out, it's going to be a problem. But if you have a tsunami of doctors and scientists coming out, then what are they going to do? See, right now it's just pockets. So it's easy for them to attack those who come out in pockets. But if all of y'all spoke out, all of you who are concerned, if all of you banded together and spoke out, if you had a tsunami of doctors and scientists speaking out all at once with one voice, how are they going to discredit all of y'all? How do things go? Divided be, how it go? United we stand, divided we fall. As long as y'all remain segregated, y'all are easy targets. My recommendation is y'all come together and speak as one voice. Because it's going to be hard to discredit all of y'all. But evil can only persist when good men stand by and do nothing. So if you continue to be in your little isolated state, scared to speak out, then they're going to continue with the evil. And this is evil. This is nothing short of evil. And that's my opinion. Now, you may say I off my rocker, but that's my opinion. All right, let me read a couple more comments and then we're going to continue. Raquel says, thank you. It's a breath of fresh air to know that we have at least one journalist who is doing the research and bringing the truth to our people. Everyone else seems to have stuck their heads in the sand. Thank you again. Child, they drink that Kool-Aid. So many people who I thought would ask questions drink the Kool-Aid. They drink the Kool-Aid. Okay. Stanrun says, Anthony Fauci said, if you question him, you're questioning the science. So he is the science, point blank. He's the science at telling lies. Anyhow, let me stop. Christoph, there is an international movement of doctors, but their voices are muted by the media. They need more of them to come together, man. More of them need to come together. Bertha says, you're preaching, Michelle. Child, Bertha, all I could do is sound the alarm. I ain't got no medical practice to lose. So I could talk. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Somebody got to tell the truth. And again, it's just a matter of putting the information out there. You decide at the end of the day what you want to do with it. But don't suppress the information. That's what I find to be just so evil about this whole thing. You let people decide for themselves what they want to do, but don't suppress the information. And whenever you see censorship anywhere, then you should know there's something wrong. Because censorship is never a good thing. Ever a good thing. Jamila says, you're so right. They drink the Kool-Aid and took the money. Child, that's a serious combination. Bertha said, what color is that Kool-Aid, Michelle? Green. Isn't green the color that they associate with money? Green. Just like my dress today. That's some green Kool-Aid they drink. No, but it's a serious problem. It truly is. Now, I'm getting some notifications, guys. I'm not sure if you're aware that they're having a hard time hearing us on radio. Are you all aware of that? Yeah, they're aware. So they're working on fixing that technical problem that's going on. So now y'all chiming in about what color the Kool-Aid is. Y'all ain't got nothing to do, you know. Whatever the color is, they drink that Kool-Aid. And now that goddamn dizzy. Can't. It's amazing. It's just, this is amazing. So, it raises the question, I would think, who is actually behind this? And what is the motive behind this? I want you all to listen carefully to this clip. Dr. Fleming is going to give you his theory of what the motive is behind all of this.
I think you only have to look at the people involved. Fiona Helmsley and Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein and all the people that are connected. We know that these same people are involved in CRISPR technology. Now, let me make it perfectly clear. I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm anti-bad medicine. I'm not anti-CRISPR. I'm anti-using it for the wrong reasons. I'm not anti-science. I've got 53 years of it. Our science is used to better mankind. I view three major components in humanity that's important. One are the sciences. They advance us technologically. They make our lives better. Second are the arts. They give us entertainment and a way to express ourselves. They give us an ability to place ourselves in other worlds and to imagine. And the third is theology. It gives us a foundation. No matter what that theology is, it gives us a foundation beyond ourselves. Those three components are all critical. My job as a scientist is to bring you science. You look to somebody else for the other parts. CRISPR can be used for good purposes or bad purposes, but it's important to know that these people are involved in using CRISPR for potentially human-altering DNA. This research study showed that as early as 2013, they were working on synthetically altering human DNA, making artificial DNA. The Rockefellers, the Helmsleys, the Gates, the NIH, the entire group. 2013, sometime back. This isn't as far back as it goes. It's just a good example of them working together. Prior to lipid nanoparticle vaccines, there was a problem with getting CRISPR into the cells. Pfizer and Moderna's method are lipid nanoparticle vaccines. It crosses the blood-brain barrier, it merges with cells very easily. And you can see the people that were involved there were DARPA. That's your Department of Defense. They're also connected with the CIA. And you'll notice that the Chinese, this person is second to Gates in the world in private philanthropy money.
Yeah, this goes way back, y'all. This ain't just start. And this, if you're not familiar with CRISPR technology, I highly recommend that you Google it so you can understand what it is all about. I actually did an entire show on CRISPR technology when I was at the other place. And in essence, what they do is they have found a way to edit your genes. And they can edit your genes to the degree that you can determine, and this is where the ethical questions come in. So you can determine, I want to have a child who is 6 feet tall with blonde hair and blue eyes and has the IQ of this. And you can genetically create by editing genes exactly what you want. And there are a lot of ethical questions as it relates to CRISPR technology, because the whole idea behind its development was to try to find a way to eliminate disease. So if you could edit genes, for instance, so that a person can't get sickle cell. So that was the idea that the scientists who created CRISPR technology said that they were seeking to do to eradicate disease. But you know, mankind, we always got to find a way to contaminate what is good. And so now people are using this technology to edit genes in a way that they find beneficial, that have nothing to do with the eradication of disease. And the challenge with CRISPR technology is it's relatively very cheap to do. You can do it in, any lab for a couple $100, really, they say. And so it raises all kinds of ethical questions as to whether we play in God when we're now editing people's genes or looking at the possibility of editing human genes. It's already started, actually. So there are a lot of questions surrounding CRISPR technology. And now we're hearing in that clip that there could be some connection between that move and what we see happening with the mRNA vaccines. And as he would have just as he would have just shown in that clip, you have some people who have been working behind the scenes for a long time. Since before 2013, he just showed you an example of what took place in 2013, but like he said, it's been going on even longer than that. And if you do your research and if you look up if you connect all of the dots, you will see the same set of names coming up again and again and again and again and again. Where they're now talking about using medical records as a passport through vaccinations. That's already happening in Africa. Same names popping up again and again and again and again. All you got to do is put together the dots. And so you have to wake up and realize that there is so much more to this than just what meets the eye. You got to stop sipping on that Kool-Aid, whatever color it is. Wake up and see what is really going on here. This thing is so deep. And no, this is not some conspiracy theories. It's hidden in plain sight, right there for you to see. Oh, dear Lord. Stanron says, the Great Barrington Declaration is one of the group of doctors and scientists who are speaking out and informing. There are several groups. My thing is they all have to come together. They all have to come together. The pockets, it's not going to work because they can attack them in pockets. But if they all came together, they would have a harder time, I think, of discrediting all of them or silencing all of them. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back on the other side of the break, we are going to hear from some of the players in their own words as to what they are doing. Do not miss this. Please like and share this show. Let everybody know what we're talking about today. I'd invite them to tune in because this is important information that we have to get out to the public. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Located on Carmichael Road, Divine Designs Hair Boutique is a haven for women and men looking for professional beauty services. Our state-of-the-art and contemporary equipment creates a relaxing ambiance for you to enjoy while we cater to you. Need a hairstylist? We cater to all types and textures of hair for care and styling. We even have a barber on duty. Need a nail tech? Our technicians provide a range of nail services, including the latest trends. Unwind in one of our massage chairs while you get your pedicure. With our reasonable rates, friendly staff, and over 20 years of experience, you will be in great hands. Call us at 823-1669 or 698-1025 to schedule your appointment. Want to be pampered? Want to be slayed? Let Divine Designs make your day.
Looking for an extraordinary junior high school with caring, qualified staff and affordable tuition? Then come visit us at Elite School of Excellence, an affiliate of First Step Academy. ABECA-focused and Ministry of Education approved, we foster discipline, integrity, and wisdom while molding our students for success. Call us at 341-8846 or stop by First Step Academy schools on Fire Trail and Soldy Roads for more information.
At the Shirley Street Plaza, you'll find Le Petit Gourmet, a small cafe that's big on flavor. Handcrafted delights made with love will not only please your palate, but feed your soul. Call us at 394-1251. 8 to 12 minutes is all it takes for a burglar to rob your home or business. Security Systems International provides professional and affordable solutions for both. Call 396-5000 for your customized quote. Gwen's Alterations provides professional services for all your tailoring needs, including face masks to keep you safe and in style. A stitch in time saves 9. So call us today at 393-6227.
Escape from the city life to Bacon Air Beach Resort in Piratesville, Mayaguana. Relax in one of 16 air-conditioned rooms just steps away from the ocean. Enjoy scrumptious dishes in our waterfront dining room. Sip on a tropical cocktail, or if you must, stay connected with wireless internet. Nestled on one of the most beautiful beaches in the Bahamas, Bacon Air Beach Resort offers a unique vacation experience. For reservations, call 339-3726 or 463-0182.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Bahamas Orthodontic Center, celebrating 30 years of designing and creating beautiful smiles. Welcome back to GBS, Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I am your host, Michelle Malcolm. Today we are looking at Event 2021, a comprehensive look at the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic as presented by Dr. Richard Fleming recently in Dallas, Texas, where he took 4.5 hours to break this thing down. And we've been doing a series based on that event. And this is part 2 of the education aspect of that series. He broke it down into 3 segments. The first was to inform, the second was to educate, and the third would be to empower. If you missed the first several shows in this series, I highly recommend that you go to my official Facebook page where all of the shows are still up, miraculously. And you can watch them there to see what Dr. Fleming had to say during this presentation. This stuff is deep, y'all. This thing go deep. This go deep. This go deep. Okay, so what are they really up to? What are they really, really doing? Well, how about we hear it from their mouths directly? Let's go to the next clip.
Here is the Moderna CEO.
I'm here today to tell you that we're actually hacking the software of life and that it's changing the way we think about prevention and treatment of disease. So here's all the biology you need to know in 30 seconds. Our body is made out of organs, our organs are made out of cells, and in every cell there's this thing called messenger RNA, or mRNA for short, that transmits the critical information from the DNA, our genes, to the protein, which is really the stuff we're all made out of. This is the critical information that determines what a cell will actually do. And so we think of it like an operating system. And so if you could actually change that, which we call the software of life, if you could introduce a line of code or change a line of code, it turns out that has profound implications for everything. So many of us get a vaccine. What is a vaccine? It is an injection in our arm where we get bits and pieces of the virus, the proteins, and that teaches our immune system to recognize the virus, and so when we get infected, we're not sick. Now imagine if instead of giving the protein, we would give the instructions on how to make the protein, how the body can make its own vaccine. That's an mRNA vaccine, and here's what it looks like from the cell. So the traditional approach has protein floating around your cells. An mRNA vaccine approach has the cells themselves in your own body making the vaccine. What's more alarming, a stranger prowling the neighborhood or somebody who just broke into your ground floor and tripped the alarm? That's what happens with an mRNA vaccine. You've tripped the alarm wire, and now the cell is dialing 911. It's calling the police at the same time as it's making the protein and saying, that's the bad guy. If you think about what it is we're trying to do, we've taken information and our understanding of that information and how that information is transmitted in a cell, and we've taken our understanding of medicine and how to make drugs, and we're fusing the two. We think of it as information therapy.
Let's listen to what Bill Gates thinks about this.
You know, this is a huge challenge. We've always known that the potential for either a naturally caused or intentionally caused pandemic is one of the few things that could disrupt health systems, economies, and cause more than 10 million excess deaths. It was 8 years ago that CRISPR came along, and it continues to evolve in some pretty fantastic ways, including the accuracy of the editing. Today, over 89% of genetic variants that we know are associated with human disease can be corrected. That is, if you get into the cells of interest, these blood-forming cells, which are down in the bone marrow, with very high efficiency and very few off-target edits. It's to use CRISPR to create what are called gene drives. That is a gene which is inherited by all the offspring.
I want you to notice that he did that in February of 2020 during this pandemic. I want you to also pay attention to the fact that he said intentionally released.
I also want you to pay attention that he, in essence, said that once they edit these genes, it can pass on to your future generations. Did y'all hear him? Did y'all really listen just now and hear that? Intentionally released pandemic. This is from a man who has said repeatedly that he has concerns about population control, global population control. Thinks there's too many people breathing air. So much of y'all walking around here taking up space. Y'all don't have no real purpose. You ain't accomplishing nothing with your life but breathing out good air. So what you here for? I'm paraphrasing, obviously. So we need to look at population control because too much of y'all breeding, having children and you ain't know what to do with them and y'all ain't got no real purpose in life. So it's too much of y'all. So we need to deal with this population. So now this is the same man who is prompting these vaccines. You notice he ain't saying much nowadays because he don't have to because he was very successful at doing what he needed to do. And yet people don't see this to be a problem. Boy, I don't know. Sometimes, I really appreciate you guys who are sending, notes of encouragement. But sometimes you get tired because you know, and this thing is so divisive in that, people sort of attack like it's separating people. Because if you come to people with this, they roll their eyes and, oh, here she go again. And like they really don't want to hear what you have to say. Whether it's true or not, they don't care. They just tired of hearing you. And sometimes it gets tiring. It really, really does. Ah, boy. Okay. Let me read a couple of your comments. This says, I want you to watch this video from my brethren from Arkansas, United States. His name is T. West from Synergy News, an activist who's talking about the same topic what you and the doctor is talking about. The video is almost 2 hours long. I need to link you up with him so y'all could do a live show together. The brother's legit. There are people who are trying to get the word out. People are trying. And it's like you're fighting an uphill battle because they're doing everything they can to shut you down. Georgina says, these are crimes against humanity, and because of fair greed, millions are being deceived. Georgina, they drink the Kool-Aid. They drank the Kool-Aid. Jamila says, there's also a group of lawyers who are filing cases in Canada and Germany against the governments due to these emergency orders that have caused harm. It gets complicated, however. If you're on Telegram, go to Finding the Truth and you'll see tons of info on the COVID-19 pandemic. Georgina says, again, thank you for bringing this information to the forefront. Doing my best, Georgina. I'm really trying. Jamila says they call them useless eaters. Navarro says the people running to take this vaccine talking about herd immunity like fools. Princess says they have contaminated the future generations. These men need an encounter with Jesus Christ. They are not God. Jamila says you have to take a stand, good or evil. And Bertha says that is why they unleash the corona to get rid of a certain amount of people in each country, especially the people of color. I've come across these videos, right? Of people saying, oh, we are doing this for the good of humanity. And it is important that you get the vaccine and black people, we need you to go first. So when since y'all so care about black people, you see it in their videos of Delton? Black people, you need to go first, and indigenous people, y'all need to go next. When since y'all so care about us? These people really believe you stupid. Like all of a sudden, you care so much about the black people that they have to go first. Really? As Adrian would say, how about now? I just, boy. Ah, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay, let me continue on with the knowledge. Because what you need to realize is that not only are there concerns about the vaccines causing an inflammatory response. Now, we understand it's being verified that, yes, AstraZeneca is linked to inflammation in the hearts of young people. And the mRNA vaccines are also linked to the inflammatory response. Caller, I need you to turn your radio down, please. And one of the things that Dr. Fleming has been saying is that the treatment has been wrong because they've been focusing on this as a respiratory problem when it's really an inflammatory problem. So we know that the vaccines lead to inflammation in many instances. But let's go to the phone call first before we continue with the information from Dr. Fleming's presentation. Hello, caller. Welcome to GPS.
Good morning, Bahamas. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
Michelle, I know this narrative which you are driving is calling for people to awake and to be conscious. Okay? And I've listened to all the narratives with respect to the coronavirus and the vaccine and the tests and what have you, but I would like for you and your listeners to consider a social, historical aspect, which is, one, I will use an example. For a nation, a country, or the world to make forward progress, there needs to be an understanding, a unified understanding, or a unified outlook that we all agree on. Now, when your concentration or your focus for that fact is to the east, let's say four of us, and my concentration for that fact is to the west, and the other person concentration to the north, and to the south, and you name it, we are not on the same page. We are focused on different things that we deem for ourselves to be important. I said that to say this. Then, if you want that group of person to move forward, somehow you got to get them looking in one single direction. I believe that this vaccine is one of those social evolution, whether it was intentional or not, that now has the world concentrated and focused in a single direction. Whether it was intentionally done or whether it was by accident, the fact is it's now part of everyone's narrative. It's, for the most part, it's part and parcel of everyone's focus and attention. We now have a common enemy that is not so much as ourselves, me against you, or Germans against Russians, or the West against the East. We have a common enemy. And this may have been by design, human design. It could have been just natural evolution. England, Great Britain, did not conquer or made any economical progress until it was on, the country itself was on one page. Everyone was by force made to become Catholics during the reign of Elizabeth I. it is almost necessary for us to be on one page, have some common enemy. And this may be what it is, Michelle. That's all I'm saying. Notwithstanding your narrative, that this could be the plans of Bill Gates. This could be in a drive. But is it such a bad plan for us to be on the same page? Is it so against your interest or my interest, the Bahamian interest, America's interest? Because before Corona, we didn't even know what was important in our lives. Now we have something important globally. Consider that.
So you're saying the means justify the end?
Well, I am saying does the means justify the end? Well, you know they say you see a donkey in the desert, you ride it. This was a train that was going to town, and I guess the global powers say, hey, we better get you right. So yes, the means in this case would, I guess, if it works, it justifies the end. If it works, it may be the case. Yes, Michelle, it may be the case. China was focused on one thing, and America was saying China was doing this, and China was saying we weren't doing this, and the Russian was saying you're doing this, and they said we weren't doing this. And everybody had this agenda that was moving very close to probably a war. Now, it's in the medical field. Let us cure and heal our people. Now, Michelle, not every government has handled this with intelligently, has handled this intelligently. Okay? And I guess you and I just happen to be Bahamian and we get the brunt of that. Okay? I once read an author who says, who wrote, downtime is preparation time. You use it to get your people ready for the next frontier. This corona, in my view, for me, it has, as an individual, has made me prepare for what is on the other side. This would have been an opportunity nationally for us as a country to prepare for what is going to be, in a lot of different aspects, the new norm. There is going to be a new norm. All right? Rather than us being cynical about this and that, use this time. Well, we've done lost 18 months. I don't know if there's any redemption here. But rather than all of the cynical, and use it. Use it. What did God tell Moses?
So you think that by bringing this information, I'm being cynical? Is that what you're saying?
No. I think you are expressing what you are experiencing. Okay? And I'm saying to you, Michelle, be careful. You could actually have a lemon, and it isn't quite tasty to your tongue. Move it away from your tongue. Look for some sugar. Make your lemonade. That's what I'm saying. Okay?
No, not okay, because you got me lost, because I don't understand your point.
Okay. What I'm saying is you are experiencing, and you're expressing a narrative as to your suspicion.
No, this has nothing to do with my suspicion. This has to do with evidence that is being presented by scientists and doctors around the world. This has nothing to do with my opinion or suspicion.
Okay. For a minute, let me accept that. Let me accept as far as you're just reporting the facts. And I'm saying to you, though, here's a perspective. How forceful and capable are we to change things?
I'm going to read to you a statement from a comment made on Facebook. It says, if the end or new norm is population reduction, does the caller still want to ride that donkey?
Well, is reduction of population is okay. Let me say this. I may have to say yes. You know why? Because historically, at every period, there was a war. And the consequences of the war was that there was a population reduction. And there was what we call a resetting of the economy. World War I, World War II, and any previous war before that. It ushers in a resetting, and one of the consequences of that resetting was a population decrease. Now, we're having a population decrease as a consequence of coronavirus. Okay?
Okay, so who gets to determine that? Does Bill Gates get to determine that? Who made him God?
Okay.
Who made any of these people who are behind this God to determine that?
I'm with you there. So that may be the issue. That may be the issue. And just like Michelle Malcolm, with respect to her show, who determines that? Michelle Malcolm. Okay? I'm not saying that Bill Gates is God.
So
it may be more than Bill Gates. It may be
he's not the only person involved in this. Anyway, caller, you are entitled to your opinion. You are entitled to your opinion, and I'm glad that you called to express
You had a
it.
valid point there. Bill Gates is not the only one involved.
No, he's not.
He's not the only one involved. But I'm asking you then, what can we do from our platform to unseat those that are involved?
Well, it begins with information. And the challenge that I have is that the information is being suppressed. I believe that once people are informed, they can then decide for themselves what decision they want to make for their own, to determine their own destiny. I don't think Bill Gates or anyone else has a right to determine my destiny. He don't have no control over my life. He did not give me life, and he doesn't have the right to take it from me. He or anyone else.
I will agree with you with that, and especially with me and you. But let me ask you something. You and I don't make up the proportionate population, or mindsets like us won't make up the full scope of the population. Let me ask you a next question, which deserves its answer. For those who cannot make up their mind as to what should happen in their life, who's going to do it for them?
Oh, so you are God?
No, that's not what I'm asking. What? There are people in here, in our lives, in the Bahamas, that are still wondering.
Yes, and it is their right to wonder. It is not your right to determine what happens to their lives. That's not your place.
A government is mandated to create an environment.
Yes.
For people to strive.
Yes.
Live in.
But that person has to make the determination for themselves to take advantage of what is provided. You can't determine for a person what their life is going to be.
Hey, I'm saying to you, government is responsible to create and stimulate an environment for people so that they can live, work, and be happy, etc., etc., etc.
No disagreement here.
But let me propose to you. Could it be that part and parcel of creating that environment may be population control?
Okay, on that note, I can let you go because we got to take a break anyhow.
Thanks, Michelle.
But no, you ain't God. How you get to determine that? So you and your godness can determine, since we need population control, who can die and who can live? How that get your place? And see, this is the problem that I have with those who I believe have orchestrated this whole thing. They think there's God because they got a couple dollars in their pocket. So they get to determine who lives and who doesn't? Catch yourself. Because, quite frankly, all the Lord got to do is pull that bread and you gone. You have no control over what happens in your own life. How dare you determine what happens in mine? This is God complex because you got a couple dollars in your pocket. It just never ceases to amaze me. Anyway, we can take this break, y'all. And then we're going to get back on track with providing the information, because I was going somewhere before that caller called. And this is about, you know what? Let's take the break. And then I will just let this clip speak for itself. Buckle up. It's going to get deep. Stay with us. This is GPS.
glory to hit the Bahamas. This is the all-new Glory 93.9 FM, where God is glorified and the people of God edified.
Ocean blue is the best in seafood, fresh out the water and affordable too, We got fish, conch, lobster, shrimp, everything you want, Ocean Blue got it. Ocean Blue, friendly and clean, best service you ever seen. Ocean Blue is the best in seafood, fresh out the water and affordable too, Ocean Blue Seafood, we are here for you. Ocean Blue Seafood, no one else will do. Ocean Blue Seafood, located on Burnett Road. Contact us at 393-2160.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy, with Mailboat's U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the Mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. And by BMP Liquidators, high-quality furniture and home goods at very reasonable prices. This final segment of the show, we are looking at Event 2021, a comprehensive look at the COVID-19 pandemic as presented by Dr. Richard Fleming a couple of weeks back in Dallas, Texas. And I'm going to get right to the clips because we have quite a few to get through and only a few minutes left in the show. So one of the things that you have to realize is that in addition to the inflammatory response, these vaccines, in essence, suppress your natural immune system from functioning. But as we're going to hear in this clip, this goes deeper than just a physical thing. There might be some degree of mind control as well.
This research shows that they've used this technology to intentionally silence your genetic material. The pre-purposing of endogenous retroviruses, you would recognize those as HIV, a retrovirus. Silencing the machinery of the embryonic stem cells to stably silence 3 highly expressed genes. In other words, with the purpose of determining what part of your genetic code is allowed to express itself. I also want you to notice that it's resistant to your immune system responding to it, bypassing your safety features to protect you from something coming from outside of your body. This is at the Department of Defense in the Pentagon.
Excuse me, on the left over here, we have individuals who are religious fundamentalists, religious fanatics, and this is the expression, RT-PCR, real-time PCR expression of the VMAT2 gene. Over here, we have individuals. So let me complete. So over here, we have individuals who are not particularly fundamentalist, not particularly religious, and you can see there's a much reduced expression of this particular gene, the VMAT2 gene. Another evidence that supports our hypothesis for the development of this approach. What you see
here is by spreading this virus, we're going to eliminate individuals from donning on a bomb vest and going into a market and blowing up the market.
So our hypothesis is that these are fanatical people, that they have overexpression of the VMAT2 gene, and that by vaccinating them against this, we'll eliminate this behavior. So we have some very, very remarkable data in this next slide. Here we have 2 brain scans. These are fMRIs. These are 2 different individuals with different levels of expression of VMAT2. On top is an individual who's a religious fanatic, an individual, and we've repeated this numerous times, that has high levels of VMAT2. Now, this individual down here who had low levels of the VMAT2 gene, this individual would self-describe as not particularly religious. In each case, these individuals were read a religious text. This individual lit up the right middle frontal gyrus, shown here, and that's a part of the brain that's associated with theory of mind. It's a part of the brain that has to do with intents and beliefs and desires. In contrast, in marked contrast, here's an individual who would not particularly self-describe as religious, and when they're read a religious text, what you see is that this part of the brain called the anterior insula lights up. This is a part of the brain that's associated with disgust or displeasure on hearing something.
So you're suggesting I take a CT scan with me when I'm evaluating people to determine whether I put a bullet in their head?
So the data that I'm presenting here supports the concept that we're proposing. And I think that we would not propose to do CT scans or fMRIs on individuals out in the hinterlands of Afghanistan. The virus would immunize against this VMAT2 gene, and that would have the effect that you see here, which is it's essentially to turn a fanatic into a normal person. And we think that will have major effects in the Middle East.
How would you suggest that this is going to be dispersed? The aerosol?
Well, so the present plan and the tests that we've done so far have used respiratory viruses such as flu or rhinoviruses, and we believe that that's a satisfactory way to get the exposure of the largest part of the population. Most of us, of course, have been exposed to both of those viruses, and we're quite confident that this will be a very successful approach.
This is fascinating. What's the name of this proposal?
Yeah, so the name of this project is FunVax, which is the vaccine for religious fundamentalism.
And you have a proposal already?
The proposal has just been submitted, and I think that the data that I have shown you today would support the development of this project, and we think it has great promise.
That was in 2005, and notice that he said that they had done it.
Y'all hear what that man say? Delton, did you hear what that man said? FunVax, where they would put out a virus that would get into the brains of religious fundamentalists and control their behavior so that they'll be less willing to blow up themselves in a busy market because of religious reasons. Now, on the surface, you may say, Michelle, that's a good thing, because you got a lot of, terrorists out there, and that'll stop the terrorists. But what if they decided, because that was back in 2005, and we all know that humankind is very, very capable of taking something that starts good, if you consider that to be good, and turning it into something, contaminating it. So what if they decide to use that technology for something else, other forms of control? Things that make you go, 2005, that presentation was from. Again, it's not my job to tell you what to do with the information. It is my job to bring the information to you. What you do with it, that's on you. So you've been hearing a lot about shedding. You've heard me mention it on this show that there are concerns that the spike protein, particularly in mRNA vaccines, did not just stay in the injected site, but has been traveling throughout the body of the persons who have been injected with the mRNA vaccine. And now there are concerns as to what that will mean as it relates to potential health issues down the road. And so in this next clip, we're going to hear more about the question of shedding.
You maybe have heard of some of the doctors on television talking about shedding, and look at the new Harvard study. I have news for you. In 1995, we knew about shedding from viruses. This is written on the website. This is a 2021 document from the Japanese data on Pfizer. It shows the virus, the vaccinated components in all the body organs within hours, not just at the site of injection. This is the paper that they're talking about, some of the doctors in the media, about the Harvard study showing that within hours we see virus particles going around the body. I found that fascinating, but not as fascinating as the second part that nobody's talking about. That from a vaccine that only carries the spike protein, it's making antibodies to the nuclear capsid, which is another part of the virus that's not supposedly in the vaccines. You can't make antibodies to something not in your body. So my question is, what's in the vaccines that you're not only making antibodies to the spike protein, but to the nucleocapsid, because their data shows, and that's the key, I think, of this paper, is that there's antibodies to the nucleocapsid. These vaccines must have more in it than just the spike protein, which we're going to see in a moment. And that's not the only paper you should know about, because in 2017, Moderna published a paper using lipid nanoparticles on the influenza vaccine, and it showed that in the animals tested, their lipid nanoparticle vaccine spread into the brain, the bone marrow, the liver, the spleen, and the muscle site where it was injected. 2017, brought to you by Moderna. It also doesn't explain the fact that if shedding doesn't exist, Health and Human Services and the FDA went to a lot of effort to issue a guidance to the industry in August of 2015 when they issued a document on shedding from viral and bacterial vaccines to the industry and how to test for it. They didn't spend this type of money and time to test for something that they didn't know and exist. This is their document. It's on the website. It also doesn't explain one other important thing. Remember those prion-like diseases we talked about? Your DNA belongs inside of your nucleus or your mitochondria. Your RNA belongs inside of your cells. If your body doesn't see it, it's not a part of your body. Your immune system doesn't see your genetic code because it's not outside of your cells. RNA, outside of your cells, is a prion. The vaccines contain mRNA. Any leakage of that material produces a prion-like disease, also on the website. Now let's talk about shedding. Back in March of this year, if you listen to one of the presentations I did, I explained that it wasn't possible, I did not think, for the amount of immune response to happen to these vaccines that they were exhibiting if the only mRNA that was included in the vaccines were for the spike protein. That's called the antigen. And I said that to get this type of response had to have something more. It had to have something from the open reading frame 1A and 1B, which is an earlier part of the genetic sequence. It had to have replicase. These are self-amplifying vaccines and transmissible vaccines that are associated with shedding. Self-amplifying vaccines have the transgene, which is the antigen gene, or the spike protein, which produces this amount of a response. By the way, all published papers. With the replicase added into it, this is the response you get, and this is the comparison. A lot more spike protein floating around, available for distribution throughout the body, and who knows where. Transmissible vaccines have been done, and yes, you're looking at this slide because the animal it's been done most in is the bat. This type, transmissible, is injected, and the transferable is topical. Transferred the vaccine from one animal to the next animal. These are published studies. It's not my opinion.
And neither is it mine. Published studies, hidden in plain sight, right there for you to see if you bother to look. And this show today and the past several weeks have been designed to help you to look. That's all this is. You may, hear all of this and see all of this and decide that you still don't buy it. You still, are going with the narrative that is being promoted by the authorities. Well, then, wonderful. That is your right to choose that. That's your right. I believe everybody should have the ability to make a choice. and informed a choice. And my biggest concern is that we're not being given the information to make an informed choice. We're just being told, shut up and take the vaccine. And this is a problem. Because I don't know about you, but ever since I was a little girl, I don't like people just trying to shove things down my throat. I ask questions. And when you're talking about your life, and now we're talking about the possibility of prion diseases later on down the road, because this spike protein and whatever else is in that thing is floating around in your body, these are questions you need to be asking. So, running out of time quickly. Is this new? Or has this type of experiment been going on for a while? Let's go to the next clip.
You'll see that the first studies are called horizontal transmissibles, right? From one to another, horizontal transmissible, okay? Dates back to 2000, that's February of 2000, 2 decades, a little more. Let's take a look here at a paper that was published on self-amplifying mRNA vaccines. This table does a nice job of showing us the infectious disease. That was the year. The infectious disease, how it's getting there, which virus, what we're trying to get it to make a product of, the immunogen, the antigen, how we're getting it to you, what year it was done, and what animal. Let's go down here and look at HIV. These studies use a Venezuelan equine encephalitis, which is a virus that causes encephalitis or brain damage in horses in Venezuela. Research on that tries to use the envelope of the virus to make the vaccine versus the spike protein, okay? These are the ways, lipid nanoparticles and a couple other methods. The research was done 2012, 2013, 2014 in mice and rabbits. That's the animal model. Okay, animals first. Here's what you should be looking at. 2 diseases, rabies and COVID-19. Really should be called SARS-CoV-2. COVID-19 is the disease. There's that horse virus again, looking for spike protein. Lipid nanoparticles, 2020, and what's the animal model it's being studied in? Humans. It's not being studied in dogs or cats or anything else, or mice or rats. You're the animal model.
Either you are in the test group or the control group, but this is an experiment. So, what can you do to protect yourself? What can you do if you have decided that you want to lower your risk? There are some things that you can do. Let's go to that clip. Here are 3 things that you can do to lower your risk.
3 ways to lower your risk would appear to be either making the dietary and lifestyle changes that you need to lower the comorbidities, which I spent decades also plugging away on, or if you're actually in a hospital with COVID, you might want to get somebody treating you for the inflammothrombotic response, which we posted those results earlier, and they're now available for download from my website. You can download them. We're going to go over them later in the presentation. You can share them with your doctors. Or another way to avoid getting COVID is to be in the control group of the vaccine studies.
What's the control group? The non-test group. What's the test group? People who take the job. I love the way that he began with what you can do to protect yourself, because I've been preaching that for weeks on the show. Take better care of your health. Nutrify your body. There is no reason why you should be walking around with type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure or any other chronic non-communicable disease that we have so much of in this country and quite frankly have worked to get. Often when I am dealing with a client and I hear them say, oh, the doctor trying to put diabetes on me, but I accepting that. And I tell them, why are you blaming the doctor for what you work hard to get? You work hard for that. Don't blame the doctor for putting that on you. You put that on yourself. You worked hard to get that type 2 diabetes. You worked for that hypertension. You worked for that heart disease. You worked for that. So don't put that on a doctor. That's all on you. Now, that being said, there are some things you can do about it. You can make some lifestyle changes. You can ensure that you're getting adequate therapeutic nutrition in your body. Not just the crap you buy over the counter that you're not absorbing. Just, you take it and it pass right through your intestines and pass right out. Not that. You can stop eating inflammatory foods that are damaging your gut, damaging your immune system. You can take better care of yourself. We don't have to be in this condition that we are in. We don't have to be. You have to make a decision that you're going to do what it takes to become healthier. I have said it repeatedly, and I was so relieved to hear him say that, because a lot of doctors and scientists really don't understand the connection between nutrition and good health. They believe so much in the pharmaceutical that they dismiss the power of nutrition to get your body to heal itself. But the bottom line is your best defense against COVID-19 is a good, strong, healthy immune system. Your immune system was designed to work. But you need to give it the building blocks it needs to do so. 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 3 essential fatty acids. That's what you need every single day. I had promised last week to pin the health evaluation link that I have at the top of the Facebook page, and I forgot to do so. So I will make sure to do that today. For those of you who are battling with a non-communicable disease and want to get better, you can heal. Your body was designed to heal. It wants to heal. It's trying to heal itself. Just needs a support. And as opposed to us only shoving this vaccine down people's throat, I really, really hope that our health authorities wake up and understand that you have to get your people healthier in the meantime. Because even if you decide to go the route of the vaccine after all this information, even if you decide to take this vaccine, guess what, people? If your immune system can't respond to the trigger, then what? And now we hear where these vaccines are suppressing your immune system. And now we hear through shedding, the spike protein is being found all over the place in your bone marrow, which is responsible for putting out white blood cells to fight off disease. In women's ovaries and testes and your brain. And now we're hearing that we may have a bunch of prion diseases as a result. So you really, especially if you took the vaccine, need to be nutrifying your body from now to give your body something to fight with. It's going to need it. Nutrify your bodies, people. Get healthier. You do not have to be sick. You do not have to be in the bondage of disease. You do not have to be taking 12 and 15 different medications and still not getting any healthier. You do not have to be in that position. You can be well. I will do my best to remember to put that at the top of the page. So go to the Facebook page for those of you listening on radio if you want to learn more about how you can nutrify your body and strengthen your body so that it can do what God designed it to do. Because these doctors think they're smarter than God, and you know, and I know they are not. Music playing, 1 o'clock. I got to get out of here. We're going to have a very interesting show tomorrow. Have you noticed that there are a lot of former beauty queens who are now politicians? We're going to talk to a couple of them tomorrow. Some very intelligent ladies who have once crossed the stage as beauty contestants are now crossing another stage as politicians. We're going to hear from them tomorrow on GPS. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good and safe afternoon.